bet you guys have never seen anything like this.
Wow. This is Donatello.
How did he end up like this?
He was dropped off on our doorstep.
So they left him on the doorstep.
Yeah.
In a box. On a towel. Cup of water.
That's it.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
And no, hey, this is who we are.
Nope. Nothing.
In all these years, you're talking more than 30 years of doing this now, I've never seen this kind of deformity. Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
I recognize you.
How you doing?
So this is him.
Wow.
This is Donatello.
Donatello. How did he end up like this?
He was dropped off on our doorstep.
Wow, like that
in a
already?
box. In a box. He was concrete.
Oh my God.
Yeah, with a small little thing of water, and his
Really?
beak was like that.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So that
This is how he came to us.
Wow. So
And then after a few years, he just became part of our family.
yeah.
You know, took him in. He had blood work done recently, so I have it all for you.
Wow.
He's so good, very active.
Yeah.
But because we're leaving, you know, we want him to thrive. And
Yeah. Are you guys just moving or just shutting down?
they're
the
shutting
place?
down.
Shutting
And I was
down.
going to take him home with me. But then it's like, how do I take care of him? What do
Yeah.
you do? He's in a tank that we have there with the heat and stuff. But
Okay.
he needs to be with turtles. He needs to be in his own environment.
Wow.
So this was all,
So we have no idea how the beak ended up like that.
no, that's how he came to us.
I was looking at the photos and trying to figure out if it was a birth defect or if.
That's how he came to us.
Wow.
Just like
That's
that.
a very uncommon growth pattern.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So, as far as what he eats and how he eats, how is he?
Greens, proteins.
Mm-hmm.
He eats shrimp. He likes chicken.
So does he have any trouble?
Vegetable.
Or?
No, eats like a champ.
That's great.
Eating is not a problem. Sometimes I'll take food from my hand.
Okay.
But like I said,
He is interesting. Look at
Comes out
that.
to my voice.
I've never, I've think I've seen it all, and I've never seen a deformity or.
Yeah,
I don't even know what
that's
to
how
call
he
it
came
right
to
now,
us,
yeah.
I don't even know.
So they left him on the doorstep.
Yeah.
In a box.
In a box.
On a towel.
On-
Cup of
yep.
water.
That's it.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
And no. Hey, this is who we are.
Nope, nothing. Think about like this, like white.
Yeah.
All the shell.
Wow. So he was okay. So that's what you meant by concrete,
Yeah.
is that he looked like a piece of
He looked
concrete because he
like-
was
yeah,
so
'cause
dried
he
out.
was so dry that he would look like this was his whole body all on the shelf.
Wow.
And we cleaned him up, warmed him up, and there he is.
Well, you guys really
We
transformed him.
try to do a lot.
I'm thinking one of two things. It was either a birth or hatching defect, or it's possible that he was attacked by a clutch mate when he was very young, like a hatchling, because Chinese box turtles can be pretty aggressive towards each other, because he's got a bit of a bump here, and also you see the two stripes there, the yellow stripes on his head?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be here, not up here.
Oh.
Yeah, on the Chinese box turtle, they're supposed to basically
On the
go
side.
like
Like
this.
Like
down.
straight down.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that is actually a deformity, and that's why his stripes are up here more, you know?
And that could have been a reason
Because
why they
obviously
dumped
his,
him too.
his
Yeah.
eyes are also kind of in a weird placement.
place, yeah.
He was always special needs. That's why wherever he went, he had to be taken care of, like with people that knew how to take care of him.
Sure. Well, thank you.
No, thank you for responding.
Thank you
I
for
didn't
taking
know what
care
to
of him
do.
all this time, you know,
We all did.
because
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
thank you
joint
guys.
effort on everybody. Everybody took care of him.
yeah, this is great. You know, so many
Makes-
people, you know, they give up on an animal when it doesn't look right.
That's
you
what
know?
they did. This little guy.
You'll do good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm
he
not
will.
worried.
I'm not worried either. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you. And,
Thank
good
you,
luck.
everybody.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. All right. So, meet the newest member at Garden State Tortoise. Although we're not at Garden State Tortoise right now. We drove all the way up into New York today to come pick this turtle up. They call him Donatello, so we're going to call him Donnie. But the first thing I want to do here before we get home is give him a little bit of traction here so he's not slipping all over the place. I only have some napkins, but he'll be all right in case he's going to hang out with you. So let's get this guy home. I'm blown away by the situation going on in his face there. We'll take a closer look. We'll get him cleaned up. See what he's all about. Okay, After a long day of driving, we are back home with our newest addition. This here is Donicello. We're gonna call him Donnie, and he's an adult male Chinese box turtle, scientifically known as Cora flavomarginata, very famous turtle species from China. In fact, they're very popular in the pet trade globally because they are a very voracious and outgoing species. We have them here. They are very quick to associate their owners as a food source. They're extremely cold and heat tolerant, so they can be left outdoors year round in many portions of the United States, not unlike right here in southern New Jersey. And they're just a very rewarding turtle species to work with. However, they do have needs just like other box turtles, and when they are not met, bad things can start to happen to them physically and internally. Donnie here was left on the doorstep of that animal hospital you guys were just with us at 3 years ago. We don't know why they did what they did. These things happen all the time, unfortunately, but it is pretty clear that Donnie has some special needs, not unlike some of the other animals you guys have come to know here. So for starters, we've been really just trying to examine him to try to figure out what's going on. But let's not forget that we do have his blood work, which came back good. They can live to be more than 100 years of age. We don't know how old he is, but I will say he's definitely stunted as far as growth goes. A Chinese box turtle male should be considerably bigger than this. They are by no means a very large species, but an adult male should be between 6 and 8 inches in length. So while his shell is beautifully grown as far as this part goes, the arc, there are other issues going on with it, including right here, which is what we call the bridge. The reason we call this area the bridge is because this is where the top shell, the carapace, meets the bottom shell, the plastron. This isn't supposed to be so obvious and thick here. They're supposed to just basically be a nice line, if you will, or area of cartilage that separates the two. But it almost looks as though over time this kind of expanded upward or downward and the skin or cartilage started to separate. It's definitely not infected. It is in check. We will continue to just basically put SSD cream on here, which is the same cream that we were using to heal up the skin or splitting areas on Rockalina's legs, and that stuff works like magic. So I'm not worried about that. As far as his bottom shell or plastron goes, his hinge almost fixed. So I don't know what caused that. He is a box turtle, which means that he should be able to fully close up his shell, and that's how box turtles get the name box turtle. But he's not in the wild. He's not going to need to defend himself under any means, so we don't have to worry about him closing up. As far as his limbs go, there does seem to be some bowing. Casey noticed that when we were first looking at him, getting ready to go home. That could mean because before he went to the vet's office, he was suffering from MBD, which is metabolic bone disease. And then once he got under the proper care, whatever medication and proper diet they put him in, then he probably got better. But of course, you can't really fix the way the bones had grown at that point. He can walk. That's what's important. His nails are very slightly curled, so I will trim them. But what we're really dealing with here is what's going on with his face. And we're going to get more into that in a minute. So the way that we're going to keep him is by using what I call a hospital setup. And that is this. So hospital setups, as I call them, I do 2 different styles. The one that we're going to put Donnie in is one that has substrate. And that's because Donnie doesn't have any open wounds or anything I have to worry about on his skin, his fleshy areas, those soft parts as we call them. So he's gonna go into this environment here. But before I do that, we're gonna compare it to the style that I have Rockalina in, because a lot of you have been asking, how do I have her set up? Well, this is it right here. Very simple style setups because these animals need to be monitored closely for various reasons. And if you've been following the videos about these disabled box turtles, then you know just how much care is going into the TLC that we have to constantly give them to make sure there are no problems happening. So I'm going to take these lids off, and real quick, just to touch on the lids, all this whole setup is a storage bin, storage tote with a locking lid. And what I do is I cut out a hole so that a heat emitter can pass through here. You just put that dome on top. These are low wattage because you don't want them to get too warm inside, but we are trying to create a warm, humid environment. So these are very simple, climate-controlled environments that help these box turtles get through these sensitive stages. Rockalina has to be on just moist paper towels, but we swap these paper towels out every single day. Sometimes we keep her dry, and then other times we let the humidity really build because we were dealing with open wounds on her legs. The SSD cream has really cleaned that up for us, but we're not out of the woods. I've said that a million times already. So we also don't keep water dishes or water bowls inside these enclosures because we're trying to keep infection at bay, and water gets dirtied very quickly, especially by turtles because they love to poop in them. Instead, we give them baths every day. Water is extremely important for these animals regardless of the phase or stage they're in of healing, and then they go back into these enclosures. But Donnie is on natural forest floor, exactly what these box turtles occur on in the wild, and that is what we eventually want to see Rockalina on. Right now, on those paper towels to keep any possible infection at bay, but as soon as she's completely healed up, this is the kind of substrate that she's going to go on. And Donnie is really already showing some amazing personality right here. I can tell this turtle is going to be a lot of fun to work with because he doesn't even know who we are. He just got here and he's already just kind of begging for things. He's probably hungry, so we're going to have to work on that. But let's push these hospital units aside. Now, mind you, these turtles are not going to stay in here for life. Rockalina is going to get a more elaborate setup eventually. And honestly, I think Donnie might be able to end up living with the other Chinese box turtles here. I'll have to observe his behavior, see how he acts overall. And as long as he continues to be like this and he can eat with no problem and hold his own, then he will probably get to live with the other Chinese box turtles, whether it's permanently or at least at times. So let me move these out of the way because what I want to do is compare the beaks of these two animals because there are some serious differences here. Rockalina, we all know how she ended up this way, but in case you need a refresher, she was captured in 1977 and kept on a kitchen floor, fed nothing but dog food, lettuce, and some fruit for 48 years. So for nearly 50 years, her beak was allowed to completely grow out of control, become deformed, grow in the wrong directions, basically. Her nails were completely curled upward and over, and she was totally dried out. That was human error. But Donnie here, we definitely think he was born or hatched this way. The turtle does not have any nostrils. They're not there. So he's clearly breathing through his mouth. So that gap, it's a good thing that it's there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to breathe at all without just constantly opening his mouth to take in breaths of air. And that's not how turtles do that. Turtles are always breathing in through their nostrils. Of course, they take in air through their mouths, but they don't need to do that all the time because they use the nostrils for that. So he doesn't have any. Rockalina does. Hers are a little pinched from her beak being so deformed from improper growth. When you take a good close look at his face and head overall, there's definitely a lot more going on there. Even with Rockalina's improper growth, her beak still curves downward as it technically should, whereas Donnie's here completely goes upward. And there's a big U shape that the bottom jaw almost fits into, but it's definitely not how it's naturally supposed to be. Both of these turtles come from really sad pasts, but they are in good hands now. And I gotta say that the animal hospital, it's unfortunate that they're closing because they really did an awesome job with Donnie with the amount of time that they had him there. And he really has quite a bit of personality. When you look at the arcs of their shells, both grown very well, even though Rockalina, hi, what's up? Even though Rockalina is normal size. I know a lot of you have said, oh, she's so tiny. And I did mention that she's a little thing in the original video, but Eastern box turtles can be fully grown at this size, which is exactly what she is. They're typically fully grown at between 5 and 7 inches. Chinese box turtles usually a little bit bigger. So he's definitely stunted. She is not. Both have beautiful arcs to their shells, but what we're dealing with mainly with them is going to be their nails, their skin, and those beaks. And you can tell that Donnie, his skin is still very dried out. So it's a good thing that we're keeping him in this hospital-style humid environment because that's going to benefit his skin overall. And I think in no time, he's going to look far more hydrated than he does now. So let me put these two back, let them get comfortable, relax, give them a little snack. And I want to show you something else that is along the same lines of these two as far as their story goes, but is vastly different in appearance. This little guy right here, who we shared for the first time on Instagram the other day, has an entirely different thing going on here. Now, this is a very stunted Eastern box turtle. We're not sure of its age, but it came from the Popcorn Park Animal Refuge. It did make a short appearance in that video we did, but this animal has been raised from the start completely incorrectly. Too dry and fed a diet way too high in protein. Box turtles are omnivores, so they do eat animal matter, but they also need other things in their diet. This turtle cannot fit inside its shell. It cannot withdraw and it cannot close up its shell because, as I said, it is a box turtle. So that hinge that's right there is completely fixed. This animal cannot move it at all. So the reason this little guy contrasts Rockalina and Donnie is that this animal from day one was raised improperly. And when a baby turtle is hatched out, the shell is not solid bone yet. So it can be manipulated completely because it is not fully formed yet. So as the animal grows up in an improper environment, all kinds of wacky things happen. And ultimately it's the shell that suffers first. Rockalina was fully grown when she was first captured in 1977, so her shell never suffered much at all. She is perfectly arced, smooth, and has a wild type shell. Donnie had already grown considerably and gotten out of that fragile stage, even though he was not done growing, so his shell also has a healthy arc. But when you look at the sides and other areas of Donnie's shell, that's where he became stunted and problems started to occur because it was during his development through life. Rockalina suffered only here, with her nails and, basically her soft parts. But this little one is just, it doesn't look like a box turtle. It hardly looks like a turtle at this point because of what it has been through. But interestingly, its nails are in check and so is its beak. And that's because by the time it got to the Popcorn Park Animal Refuge, who we adopted it from, it started receiving proper care. But we will never be able to fix this turtle's shell. And in fact, a lot of people have asked about animals like this and other animals we've rescued or had surrendered to us over the years. Can you reverse that? Can you do something for it? You can correct certain beaks. You can correct nails to some extent and try to redirect them. But in this case, this turtle's shell will never, ever be able to be corrected. So while these box turtles come from unfortunate pasts, Casey and I are thrilled to have them and to be able to tell their stories to you guys. But rescue is not the only thing we do here. We've got a lot going on with so many different types of animals, particularly turtles and tortoises. So I hope you guys stick around because we've got a lot more to tell you about Rockalina, Donnie, this little guy, and everybody else. But also in the coming weeks, as spring approaches, this place is going to become beautiful. And I can't wait for you guys to see all the hard work that we've been doing out there.